everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new, hi, my name's Sophie and today's video has been very highly requested, so I'm so excited to share with you my full face of glam using only drugstore makeup products. If you do enjoy this video today guys, please give me a wee thumbs up and do subscribe for more videos. I would absolutely love if you could. I really appreciate you tuning into this video today, and all of the products that I'm using as always will be linked below. Most of the products I'm using today are £10 or under, and most of them are actually available from Amazon, which is amazing. If you wanted to know how I created this look today, then please keep on watching. So first up, I'm going to be going in with this concealer just as an eyeshadow base. This one is the Eyes Lips Face Camo Concealer, and oh my goodness, this is such a good dupe for Shape Tape. Even the applicator is quite big. Not exactly sure how much product you get in this, but you do get a lot. I'm using the shade Light Beige, and I got this straight off the website, ELF, I'll link it below. So I'm literally just going to tap this over my very red eyelids. This is the Real Technique sponge. I've actually had this one in particular for such a long time. As you can see, it's pretty stained and nasty. I absolutely love these sponges. I think they're really soft, really good quality. I feel like this concealer sets down a little quicker than Shape Tape, so you do have to work maybe a little bit quicker with it. I actually have really veiny eyelids, like quite pigmented eyelids. They're always really dark, so I feel like I really do need to use something with a coverage on my lids, so this one works perfectly. So now I'm going to be going in with one of my all-time favourite brow pencils. This is the Micro Brow Pencil from NYX. So I'm literally just going to run a little line of this underneath my brow, just for this, something for the hairs to kind of sit on top of. Doing little upward flicking motions just to fill in any little gaps. It gives a really soft and natural finish. So once I filled out the brow, I am going to take this wonderful brow mascara from Rimmel, and I honestly feel like this is such a good dupe for the Gimme Brow by Benefit. The brush is maybe not as small as that, but it still gives that really sort of full effect on the brow hairs. Just run it through the brow hairs, kind of flicking them up, and what it does is it kind of darkens all of the hairs, and it just kind of makes your brow look a little bit fuller. This product is actually really good if you're someone with fair brow hairs. In between tinting, you can kind of just like brush it through the hairs and it'll darken them for you. So as you can see, the brows look kind of full, but they're quite soft and natural, which is definitely the kind of look that I want to go for today. So for brushes today, I'm going to be using the Spectrum brush collection. If you're watching any of my other videos, you know how much I love the B01. This is genuinely one of my favourite foundation brushes. They're really good quality and really good value for money, so I just love them. The set that I'm going to be using is the 10-piece essential kit. I think it's about £40 for all of the brushes, which is really good value for money. I actually got sent like a little card with these. There is a discount code on there. Use NEXT15 on their website to get 15% off. I'm going to be going in with the shadow brush, which is the B06. And for eyeshadow, I'm going to be using this palette here. This palette is unbelievable. So it's from Revolution and it is only £5. Like, I cannot believe that. So these are the shades here. I will pop some swatches on the screen as well. So I'm thinking of doing like a soft sort of like brick coloured smoky eye. Not too crazy, but you know, just a little bit bougie. First up, I'm just taking this shade here, which is kind of like a burnt brick shade. I'm going to be focusing this colour just mainly in the crease of the eye. I'm just going to keep building this up, guys. Now I'm going to go in with this shade here, which is kind of like a nudish bronzer shade. I'm just going to start to fluff that over the edges of the last colour that we put down, and it will just start to help blend it out a little bit. Once I'm pretty happy with that, I'm just going to come back to the first shade that we used, and I'm just going to be tapping that all over the lid of the eye. At this point, I'm just taking the 806 brush and I'm just going over the edges, and that's just going to make sure that everything's all blended together. I want to have like a little bit darker just right in the crease and at the corner, so I'm going to go in with a kind of mixture of this shadow here and this shadow here, and I'm just going to start from the outer corner of the eye and kind of like bring it into the centre of the crease. So me and Jamie are actually going out for dinner tonight, which is really exciting because I haven't been to a restaurant in so long. So this is going to be like our first outing. Cafe Andalus is one of our favourite restaurants, so that's where we're going tonight. So excited. However, I am going to be wearing an all white cream beige tonight, so probably not the best idea I've had. So I will let you know how that goes. So you can see that this is just starting to give us a little bit more smoke, but the lid is actually still that sort of brick shade, which I just love when you just have that tiny bit of contrast. I think it looks really nice. It kind of opens the eye up, but it's still nice and smoky. And then once I've finally got anything left on my brush, I'm just kind of flicking the excess out as well. I'm just going to apply a tiny bit of concealer under the eye. It's not actually going to be my concealer, it's just so that I can have something for the eyeshadow to sit on top of. And I'm just going to take this B03 brush and just buff that in. So I'm now just going to be taking this eyeliner here from Maybelline. This is in the shade Brownie Glitz. I'm just going to be popping that into the waterline and just running it underneath the eye, and I just absolutely love the way it makes your eyes pop, but it doesn't make them too dark either. Now taking this B04 brush from Spectrum, and I'm just literally using this to blend out that eyeliner, and it is really creamy, so it's so easy to blend it out. And now I'm just coming back to the first shade, the brick shade here. I'm just going to use that to further blend out the eyeliner, just to add a little bit more warmth. Okay, at this point, I just want to add like a tiny bit of sparkle. So I'm going to take this bronze shade here and I'm going to wet my brush with this Makeup Obsession setting spray, which I will use for my makeup at the end. And I'm just going to be popping that right in the centre of the eye underneath it. Honestly, it's just going to make the eye pop. For eyeliner, I'm going to be using the NYX Epic Wear waterproof liners. This one is in the shade black. They literally do not come off, so they're unreal. And I think I'm just going to do like a thin line on my eye. I'm going to do a wing or anything today. And because it's got such a little fine tip, it makes it so easy to do eyeliner. And I'm just going to take a tiny little bit of this black shade here, and I'm just going to use that to further blend out the edge of this liner. Some of more of this shade here, just back onto the fluffy brush, and I'm going to help to use that to sort of just pull the shadow out a little bit more on each side, and then we'll connect it back in with our contour. So now I'm just going to go in with my favourite ever mascara, which is the Maybelline Lash Sensation. You can literally get this mascara on Amazon for like £5. It's so good. It doesn't smudge and it just builds up really easily. Honestly guys, I've been using a top secret product, which I can't tell you about yet, that has made my eyelashes look so much longer. For lashes, I'm going to be popping on some of these from Eldora. These are the M114s. Okay, so maybe these lashes aren't actually drugstore, but I didn't actually have any drugstore lashes, guys. Now we're going to move on to skin, which is obviously always my favourite part. I'm going to start with primers. Now, I've got two primers that I'm going to use today, just because both do different things, and obviously that just means there's something here for everybody. So the first one I'm going to use is the L'Oreal Glow Cherie. I don't know how to say that. Glow Cherie. I feel like I need to be French to say that. But anyway, the L'Oreal Glow Cherie thing here at Link It Glow. This is honestly amazing. I would go as far to say as it's a dupe for Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter. That's on my hand there. So that's it swatched, and then that's it just on its own. And it just gives the skin a beautiful glow, beautiful hydration. So all I'm going to do is just kind of dab that all over my face and blend it in with my Spectrum V1 brush. It gives a tiny bit of coverage, so it helps to even out the skin tone. This is in the shade medium, and when this mixes in with the foundation, oh my goodness, it is unreal. And for the second primer, this is like an old faithful for me. This is the Angel Veil by NYX. It's very similar to the Professional from Benefit in the sense that it's quite a thick primer, but it's really good at sort of mattifying any areas and smoothing. So you can actually see that it really does help to smooth out any little pores, fine lines, things like that. So I'm just going to be popping that sort of here, because that's where I tend to find that my pores are most open looking. It just kind of almost just smooths them back out, so that when we put the foundation on, it goes on a little smoother in those areas and doesn't almost like sink into the pores. Perfect, so we're all prepped and primed, ready for foundation. This has got to be my favourite ever drugstore foundation. This is the NYX Born to Glow, and I do have a whole foundation review on it if you want to see that. This one is in the shade Medium Olive. All I'm going to do is exactly what I did with the primer, and just kind of tap that all over my face and start to blend it in with the same foundation brush that I used for the primer, the B01. And this foundation is so beautiful, honestly. I can't believe this is £10, but the coverage is probably sort of medium coverage, medium buildable I would say. You can actually just see a few dots has just like totally evened out my skin tone. Now that this is like mixing with that L'Oreal primer, the Glow Cherie one, it just looks so nice. It gives it such a nice glow. But I definitely need to cover up these bags under my eyes, so let's get cracking with that. I'm going to be applying the same concealer that we used on our eyelids. However, I do find this concealer dries down fairly quick, so I'm going to just do like a little bit at a time. Start with the forehead. This little B03 brush from Spectrum, and I'm just going to kind of use that to take the excess product up to the eye, and just that will start to blend out the edges of the shadow here. So like when it looks a little messy, don't worry, because literally at this point you just use a little clean brush to manipulate your eyeshadow to the shape that you want it. I actually think this is such a nice concealer, like it is very full coverage, so if you're not into super full coverage, it's probably not for you, but I just think for like full be glam, like this is an amazing concealer. At this point, I'm just going to take some of my City bronzer from Maybelline, which is honestly like one of my all-time favourite bronzers. I'm just going to use a little bit to sort of guide out the eyeshadow back into the temple, and that'll help to connect it all at the end. For contour, I'm going to be using the L'Oreal Infallible Concealer. This one is in the shade 339. The reason that I picked this one up is because it's actually got quite a nice warm undertone in it. All I'm going to do is do a couple of dots here, and then here, just around the forehead, under the jaw. And I'm also going to just use my B01 from Spectrum to blend it in, because it's already got a little bit of the foundation that we used earlier, so I hope it's blending a little bit easier. So just start under the jaw, just blending it all in really. It blends in a more controlled way if you just tap the product in rather than swirling it around. If you were like wanting a little more, which I might just do Another little dot here and here. Think how long this would last you if you were just using tiny little dots at a time like this. Do you know what I mean? Okay, so now I'm just going to move on to blusher, and I'm going to be taking this Cheek Heat Cream Blusher Gel from Maybelline. This one's in the shade Nude Burn. So I'm just tapping some of that blush onto the back of my hand and literally just pressing it into the cheek. And it just gives such a nice colour flush and a little bit of a glow as well, which I'm just loving at the moment. And I almost just feel like it makes the makeup look a little bit more natural when you've got sort of a pinky blush on. And again, because we've already got some of the foundation on this brush and some of the contour, everything is just blending together so easily. All I want to do is just apply a little bit more of my City Bronzer from Maybelline onto this A05 brush from Spectrum. And I'm just literally going to like sweep that into the contour of my cheeks, and then just any other areas that I want to add or set the cooking contour. Okay, now to powder, I'm just going in with a little bit of this Maybelline Fit Me powder, and I'm just going to be applying that sort of like under the cheekbone area here, down the laugh lines, so just anywhere that I get a little bit shiny. And this is really blurring on the skin, can you see that? And then I'm actually just going to use a really small brush just to set like underneath the eye, because I don't want to use too much powder, because I'm actually going to bake slightly under my eye as well. So I just wanted to set this concealer with a little bit of the pressed powder first before I go in with a loose baking powder. I just find that that gives you a bit more of a flawless finish. And for baking, I'm going to be using the Banana Light powder from Revolution. So I'm just going to be using a tiny little bit of this, just kind of like underneath my eye to bake. I'm not going to let that sit for any length of time because I don't want it to look too matte, so I'm just literally going to kick that off pretty much straight away. To add a tiny bit more glow to the face, I don't want to be like super highlighted. We've still got the glow from the blush coming through, but I'm just going to add a little bit more of the glow cherie, and I'm just going to like tap this just right onto my cheekbone. I feel like it looks so glowy in real life. I hope you can see it on camera, but it's so natural and nice. I'm now just going to add a little bit of setting spray. This one is from Makeup Obsession and it's the Extra Hold Spray. I just really like the way that setting spray melts all the layers together, so it almost doesn't look as powdery, if you know what I mean. Okay, so for lipstick, I'm going to be using one of my all-time favourite lip combos. So the lip liner is the Cappuccino liner from Rimmel, which is absolutely like a cult classic liner. I think it's been around for literally years. So I'm just going to be using that, and I feel like this is a really good shade just for like overlining the lip as well, so I'll be doing a bit of that. Lipstick, I'll be using this Soft Matte Lip Cream from NYX, which is in the shade Abu Dhabi, and I just think this is such a nice neutral lip colour. This is the finished look, guys. I think you can all agree that you would never know that this whole face was done with drugstore makeup products. The quality is amazing, the price is amazing, and I'm just really, really pleased with the way the look ended. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you all in my next video.